Freeman, Brian Wilson, Mary Catherine Ham, today's newsmakers, and you, the Morning Majority. 105.9 FM, AM 630. WMAL.
7:37 on the Morning Majority. Trevor Matich is in the house, in the actual studio. Glad to have him with us. And this Redskins report is presented to you by the Fork Union Military Academy. How's it going, Trevor?
Awesome, Mary Catherine, except for one little thing.
Right. So, a little bit of a heartbreaking loss last night. Didn't give up a touchdown, but lost to the Cowboys. Go ahead and indulge your depression for a moment.
Yeah, very depressed. I mean, it's one thing to get blown out. It's easy to get blown out. It's just the other team's day. But to lead and to have that game in hand until the very end and then lose it there against those guys, the evil empire, I'm not on the team anymore, and I'm depressed.
Yeah.
But it does say something about the Redskins' defense, that this was a game that the Cowboys won solely through their kicking game.
Well, that is pretty true. The Cowboys did not score a touchdown in this game, and really, I thought that the winning moment for the Redskins was when the Cowboys had the ball first and goal at the 2, and the Redskins held them to a field goal there. All three of those plays were made by newcomers to the team. Josh Wilson broke up a pass. On second down, Stephen Bowen made a tackle in the backfield. On third down, it was Ryan Kerrigan that pressured Tony Romo, and then they kicked a field goal, and I thought, now we're going to call this the game-winning moment, this goal line stand. Didn't work out that way because the Redskins' own special teams cost them the game.
I missed a field goal, but totally botched it.
Yeah, it was a botch. It was a makeable distance, and what happened was the snap was a little bit high. Not super high, a little high. The holder, Savroka, the punter, actually, instead of reaching up with his hands, which he could have done, panicked a little bit when he saw the trajectory of the snap, and he lifted his knee up off the ground. When he did that, his center of gravity went all cattywampus, and he wasn't able to get the ball back down to where it could be kicked.
Cattywampus is a great adjective.
Cattywampus you do not want to be. You just there's a big red circle with the line through cattywampus. Don't be that.
If you're cattywampus, it all goes downhill quickly.
And the field goal ended up being blocked, but it was blocked because of the botched hold.
Right.
And so that cost them 3 points, and it turned out those 3 points might have been the difference in the game.
All right. They can't hold a lead. The Redskins don't hold a lead. You've got Romo playing with, broken ribs, who knows about his lung. You've got wide receivers that are just banged up galore for the Cowboys. You've got a snapper who clearly can't get on the same page as Romo. I've never seen that happen before in an NFL game. I mean, that many bad snaps in one game. And the Redskins can't win it, and they don't. And the Cowboys don't score a touchdown. I mean, how demoralizing is this loss for the Redskins? I mean, this is one that they had. They really could have and should have won this game.
See, Brian, that's the thing that just rips my heart out about this. The Cowboys were in utter disarray. They were a hot mess this entire game. And you talk about that center quarterback situation with Romo in the shotgun. What happened often was Romo would be changing the play. So he might call a fake snap count so that the Redskins would think it was the snap count and then declare if they were going to blitz or bail out or whatever. Then he pauses, changes the play.
Right.
Well, the center kept snapping the ball on the fake count while Romo was looking to the side, changing the play. And even with all that, the Redskins didn't win. Didn't win because they didn't finish certain things. That botched field goal was one, and the Redskins themselves only scored one touchdown. They, again, weren't able to punch it in themselves. And so this is a missed opportunity game.
So how do you keep that from demoralizing in the future?
Mary Catherine, that is a great point, because this week they play the Rams. They're at the Rams. The Rams haven't won a game yet. They're 0-3. And it's a short week of practice, and the problem with this is how it affects your week of preparation. Because when you have a deflating loss like this, then a long plane ride back, and then you're right back at it because you don't have a day off because you played on Monday night instead of Sunday, it makes you kind of depressed and kind of a low biorhythm, I guess, if you want to get new age, early in the week of practice, so that you don't necessarily have a focused, urgent, tight, fast couple of practices the first couple of times out. Well, you play like you practice. And so right now their danger is not that they will get all into their head and need Dr. Phil to give them psychotherapy before the next game. The danger is that the first day or two of practice will be inefficient practices, and you tend to play like you practice.
Okay, what about D'Angelo Hall? Getting awful mouthy. He seems to have a criticism for everybody except D'Angelo Hall.
That's why they call him D'Angelo.
Yeah, you know something? I'm not ready to throw him under the bus for this, because to me that play wasn't his failure. The play was 3rd and 21. The Dallas Cowboys had the ball about on their own 30. It would have been a minor miracle to convert it, but they did.
Mm-hmm.
And with the face mask penalty that was called on Hall on that play, the ball went all the way down into field goal range. It was a complete change of field position. But the call on defense was a zero blitz. That means it was cover zero, no safeties, man for man on those receivers. 8 guys blitzing the quarterback. Now, that requires that the blitz get there now, because it's really hard for 3 defensive backs in all that field to cover those receivers for very long. But the blitz didn't get there. Tony Romo was able to make an athletic play, kind of scramble away from the blitz a little bit, and that made it from a second throw, or excuse me, a 1.8 second throw, into about a 3 to 4 second throw. And because of that, Hall had to cover in pure man on Dez Bryant, one of the most dangerous receivers in the league, for a longer period of time than the play called for him to do. So I don't blame Hall for that. I blame the blitzers for not corralling Romo.
Well, was it a good call on behalf of the defensive coaches?
I'm okay with it.
You're all right?
Yeah, I'm okay with an aggressive
call.
Yeah, because if they would have sat back with 8 men back, and if Dez Bryant would have caught the ball in a seam between the zone and turned up, and because Romo had 7 seconds to throw, we all would have said, you went into a prevent defense. Yeah. That was the problem. I'm okay with an aggressive call.
What did you think of Rex? He had 2 turnovers last night, had a couple of picks that were dropped, and maybe another fumble that wasn't reviewed. Your overall thoughts on how Rex played last night?
Rex didn't have a running game. The Redskins averaged about 3 yards per carry. The Cowboys are one of the best rushing defenses in the league. You kind of expect that going in. And Rex, I thought, did pretty well. You know, the second turnover was that last fumble, and he was trying to make a play.
Right.
Now, you can second-guess him saying that they still had enough seconds on the clock for 2 more plays. He didn't have to sell out and risk exposing that ball like he did on that particular play. But that's kind of picking at him. I thought overall he did well enough to win.
And the play calling from Kyle Shanahan?
Good enough. Good enough. Yeah. They tried to run the ball. The problem is they weren't successful at running the ball. At some point, you've got to move the ball any way you can, and they throw short passes in lieu of the run, and did that fairly successfully.
What about the handoffs to Chris Cooley last night? That was a little strange.
Yeah, well, the Cowboys didn't prepare for that.
Yeah,
and the first time they did it worked.
Yeah.
The second time they stopped it, and they didn't go back to it. Yeah.
All right, Trevor, always good to have you here.
Always great to be here. And by the way, people need to know Brian has an American flag tucked in his mic right now.
Yes.
It's hanging right here.
Because I'm a proud American, and later we'll all get together and sing the national anthem.